What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So guys, channel membership is now live. Link is in the description and the first comment. Do check it out. That would really help support the channel. So the scorecards of the Fibo men's open bodybuilding, they are now out. But it turns out, it was extremely close between Andrew Jack and Sasan, especially after the prejudging. Just 1 point separated both these guys. In fact, Sasan was leading after the prejudging by 1 point against a guy like Andrew Jack, which is kind of the biggest shocker I'm gonna say of this entire season so far. And let's not just correct this narrative that Andrew Jack won by just 1 point. He came back so much improved from the prejudging to the finals, and the man delivered a sensational performance at the finals of this Fibo Germany, getting straight first place from the judges to seal the deal. Now I kept on hearing this narrative and all these comments, especially after the prejudging, that Andrew looked 5 weeks out at the Fibo Germany yesterday. Now, in my opinion, that is far from the truth. Now, I think this opinion is solely based on how Andrew's hamstrings and glutes, they appeared on the stage throughout this feud, not just at the prejudging, but at the finals as well. But we have to keep in mind that has always been the case with Andrew Jack. We have never seen those ripped hamstrings and glutes on Andrew Jack ever before in any of the shows that he has done so far. And yes, I agree with you guys that those areas were a bit more tighter, especially at this past Arnold, Ohio. But the kind of quality that the fans want to see on Andrew Jack, especially in his lower half from the back, I do not think that is ever gonna happen because how his genetics are. But that being said, I still think that the overall better bodybuilder won last night. He had a decent enough condition, but he had such powerful and such overwhelming size that it was just simply too hard to ignore. But still, a huge shout out to Sasan and a big congratulations to him for pushing a guy like Andrew Jack, a top 5 Olympian, one of the most athletic bodybuilders out there. And not just that, he actually beat him in 1 round. And I think all of you guys will agree, that is something that none of us expected. So it's safe to say that if Sasan chooses a show more strategically, he will qualify for the Olympia this year. Now let's talk about Sergio Jr., who was making his comeback after almost 2 years, who landed in 3rd place here, which according to many people out there was kind of questionable because the guy who got 4th place, Justin, he looked really good, especially in those comparisons with Sergio Jr. at the finals. Now first of all, this was a comeback show by Sergio, and a lot of people out there, they are congratulating him for making this comeback happen and finally stepping back on the stage again. Now he's a professional bodybuilder and competing is part of the job. But the question is, where does Sergio Jr. go from here? Yes, his legs, they looked incredible, spectacular last night. And also his overall conditioning, that was superb. Probably one of his best conditioning that we have ever seen from him on the stage. And that was kind of evident from his lower half, from the back. His hamstrings, his glutes, they were pretty damn ripped. But the thing is, the man is now 40 years old. And let's be honest, and 100% real here, he isn't cracking top 5 at this upcoming Pittsburgh Pro or even the New York Pro. The best case scenario for Sergio is to go back and start another off-season, go back to the drawing board, build up that chest, bring up that back density that he lost because of that injury, and all that time that he lost while in recovery from that shoulder and ankle injury, and maybe come back later this year, maybe when we are close to this year's Mr. Olympia, and have another go at his Olympia qualification for this year. Now this is gonna sound a bit harsh. I'm not hating on Sergio, but the fact is the last time he won a pro show, that was 9 years ago, back in 2017 at the New York Pro. And the sport has just evolved so much since that time. And there is so much new talent who is young and hungry for more. Guys who have their foot on the gas to be better and better with every passing show. While Sergio on the other hand, he's kind of at the tail end of his career. But that being said, job well done by Sergio and his coach Stefan for putting up that package for Fibo Germany. But for him to qualify for the Olympia this year, once again, he's gonna need a lot more than that. So that German kid who placed 4th behind Sergio, Justin from Germany, this guy is also just 26 years old. And the guy has got a lot of size, a lot of muscularity. If he can maybe bring down his waistline a bit and maybe put on some mass in all the right areas to have a better X-frame and have a better V-taper, plus bring more density in his upper back, he can be very dangerous. And the time is on his side. The guy is still pretty young, so let's see if he competes more. Or will he go for an off-season, come back maybe next year, with some major improvements? So let me know what you guys think about the scorecards here. Do you guys agree with the decision of Andrew Jacked winning over Sasan Hireti? Now interestingly, some voices in bodybuilding, some active pros out there, they said this publicly, that Sasan should have won this show instead of Andrew Jacked. Now I'm gonna put the response of James Hollingshead and Jordan Hutchison right here. Guys, we have a limited time offer. If you buy any flavor of Bloodshot, you are gonna get a free Dying Breed t-shirt. The discount code is on the screen right now and use the code Fazi10 to get 10% extra discount. So the next show in line after Fibo Germany, that is gonna be Pittsburgh Pro, and that is a mighty one, and that is happening in less than 4 weeks time. And we finally have a training update from Martin Fitzwater. Now Martin and Stefan agreed that if Derek jumps into this one, they're gonna push for more conditioning at this upcoming Pittsburgh Pro. And that is why just look at those striations on his shoulders. And the man still has got another 28 days to go. Now Derek and Nick, they are the two extremes of the men's open bodybuilding. One is an absolute mass monster, a freak of nature. And the other one, he's a shape freak, a very aesthetic guy. And Martin is kind of somewhere in the middle. Now he isn't gonna be as big as Nick Walker, and he might not have a better X-frame than Derek Lansford. But he has a superb shape, and at the same time, he's very thick, very dense, and at the very least, he is a bit bigger than Derek, especially from the front and in the side shots. And his conditioning, that was also insane at the Olympia last year, probably one of the best out there. Now I have no idea how he will be able to beat that peak that we saw from him at the Olympia, because this has been said time and time again, that out of the top 5 from the Olympia last year, Martin was the most perfectly peaked guy in that Olympia top 5 or top 6, and that too front to back. So how much extra muscle Martin will have on his frame this time around, that is gonna play such an important role on very places at this upcoming Pittsburgh Pro. Now if the mutant Nick Walker, he brings his all-time best, which he is very confident that he will, then Martin will have to be considerably bigger than the way he showed up at the Olympia last year. Now Martin was in fact the breakout star of 2024, and the man is still carrying that huge momentum going into his first show of this year as well. Now he has to deliver in order to be a contender for that top 3 at the Olympia this year, because that is what his aim is. If any of you guys are wondering how the beast Roelly Winkler, one of the biggest freaks that we have ever seen, is looking right now, 4th year into his retirement, well, thanks to the Fibo Expo, as Roelly was there in attendance. And not only did the man take off his shirt, but he also hit some shots for the fans and the crowd. And I must say, he still looks pretty damn good right now. Now Roelly had a really long break from training and dieting after his retirement, because the main cause of him stepping away from competitive bodybuilding, that was a shoulder injury. I mean, he wasn't even training at his 100% during his last couple of years as a competitive IFBB pro, and his 2021 Olympia physique, that kind of reflected that, as that was the worst placing by Roelly Winkler since 2015. And good for him that he walked away from the sport without worsening that injury. Now Roelly hasn't been training regularly, but he still has got those great arms and amazing delts. So this is Roelly at the age of 47, and maybe if Roelly dedicates a few months to bodybuilding, true bodybuilding lifestyle, like he used to do back in the day, maybe he can be ready for the Masters Olympia. But will that be worth the risk? The fact is, the man still has to do all the dangerous stuff in order to be stage ready, and we do not even know whether he is mentally ready for that sort of commitment or not. Now that being said, it is so great to see Roelly in all of these expos, and the man has earned this respect. The man is truly one of the biggest fan favorites of his time. So I want to take a moment to talk about this guy, Momar, apologies if I'm pronouncing the name wrong, who made his Classic Physique debut yesterday, and the man was up against a veteran and a former Classic Physique Olympian, Valentin Petrov, in Fibo yesterday. And although this guy wasn't able to pull off a win here at his pro debut, by looking at his structure, one can easily say that a new star is born in Classic. So the judges made their call about Momar, that he was more Classic in every single shot compared to Valentin. And to think that this guy, he just wasn't even taking his legs training that seriously, because originally, he was competing in the men's physique. One can only imagine what kind of a package he can deliver with another solid year of training under his belt. So Momar has the lines, the shape, the aesthetics, and he has great size as well. So when he was standing on the side, before the callouts, that look itself was kind of mind-blowing. He has that super small waistline, great abs, amazing serratus. The guy has it all. Now based on that score sheet, he was solid in that second place here. And that's not bad for a guy who just introduced himself in this division for the very first time. So when Sibam was the champion, he mentioned as this division grows, the world is gonna see more and more of these genetic freaks, and anybody can just come out of the woodwork and shock us all. So this statement makes so much sense now. So how do you guys rate this physique in Classic? And what are your expectations from him in the upcoming shows? So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video, and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.